Hello everyone, hopefully you can hear me. I did tell them that I was doing a live downstairs, so we'll see how well everyone listened today. Happy Thursday, it's 4 o'clock Arizona time, and my name is Shannon Miller, and I am founding member and CEO of Clean Freaks University, where I teach other cleaning business owners how to run the back end of their cleaning business instead of being run over by their cleaning business. And I had a lot of very interesting conversations this week with a lot of people, and I'm thankful for the insight that they gave me. A lot about what this group is about. Hey, Samantha, is there, you can often get like cleaning business owner training from the biggies. There's the industry is, there's more diverseness in cleaning coaches now than there was 5 years ago, right? So for a long time, how you got that information is you bought a franchise. Well, not everyone can afford to buy a franchise, and every time you make a purchase, you're responsible for kicking some back to the franchise. So, and that's how a lot of people got their information. We have the ISSA show coming up in November. So if you, I'm thinking about going this year. I did apply to speak and I was not accepted this year, but it doesn't mean that I won't try next year. I am going to be inside of the Maid Summit, so I'm pretty excited about that. So, I'll leave the link and get you guys all informed. And I believe that's at the end of the month. So I started to take the steps to get ready for that promotion. But yeah, I had lots of really interesting insights with a lot of people. Hey Shay, how are you? And I just wanted to come here and I wanted to talk about 3 reasons why you need a cancellation policy. I want to talk about a lot of things. If I'm going to be blunt about it, I've had a lot of crisis calls this week for one thing or another, and you know, there's a lot of, let me put this down here. There's a lot of ebbs and flows in our industry, and you have to try to be prepared for those ebbs and flows. It's part of being in this industry. It's like the restaurant industry, right? The restaurant industry ebbs and it flows, and it ebbs and it flows, like the ocean. Every time a wave comes in, so make sure that you are prepared for the ebbing and the flowing of what's going on with your business. So from what I've seen and who I've spoken to, I'm not going to point fingers and name names, but there is still a majority of you who don't have a cancellation policy. So, and if you don't have a cancellation policy, it usually takes about once or twice before you're like, this doesn't feel very good. Hey, Heather. Hey, Makia. So, make sure that you are taking the steps to make sure that people don't take advantage of you. In this industry, more than the other service industries, we have a lot of unclear boundaries. And because we still, as an industry, don't have a lot of clear boundaries, a lot of people overstep. And then there's, you know, there's that element of it, right? So people are overstepping and they cancel at the last minute. You guys have all heard me talk about, or maybe you haven't, I'll just tell it one more time. I was like you guys over a decade ago. I used to clean a 3,000 square foot home for $45. Yep, that was me. and she wasn't a nice individual, and she was picky to boot, and her house was lived in hard. It wasn't, I'm looking for dirt house. This was like, I have 3 boys and a husband who doesn't make the toilet, and I have 4 dogs, 4 big dogs, and everyone, the house was just, it was a newer house, but it looked like it was an older house because it was just, it had a lot of wear and tear. So those things that you learn, right? You learn from that lesson. I can't tell you how many times this is when I still was, it was just me, right? And I was running everything out of my Mini Cooper, which I still have in the garage. I was looking at the other day, I'm like, I can't believe I used to do kid pickup in that Mini Cooper. My kids would, you know, my adult children would ask if their friend could ride. I'm like, no, there's no room. Sorry. But yeah, good times. So you have to make sure that you are not leaving yourself open to people taking advantage of you. And how you do that is you put a line in the sand. So you need to have, hi Christina, you need to have some set policies in place, business practices, whatever you want to call them, but you need to have them in place. Do not run shotgun with somebody and then come running over to me going, I already cleaned this, how much should I charge? it's never a good idea to do that because you're leaving yourself open. The person's going to have a fit because they think that you're going to give them this sweet price of $250 for 5,000 square feet, and it took you 27 labor hours because they don't care. They're just looking for someone cheap to do it. The ends to the means, right? So, and then the probability, because you didn't discuss anything, so it becomes like this whole debate, right? Or when you walk on site, because you have to remember, I don't see any of the properties. I don't go and look at anything. Everything is done sight unseen. So I give rough estimates. And then when you walk on site, and there have been times, this is when I was out in the field, and occasionally if I'm out running errands and I happen to be in the area, I could maybe pop by, but everything is done remotely. So when you walk on site and it's not what they describe, that's your opportunity to renegotiate, right? Renegotiate the deal. In the thousands of homes I have been in, I've only had one person throw me off property in over 10 years of business. He was mad and he didn't describe it as he said. His little wife got on the phone and said, "Oh my God, it's not that dirty." How many times have we had that? My head rolls, right? It's like, yeah, I just like, whatever. Yeah, it's just the big, your nose should grow like Pinocchio. But you have to understand that their reality is different than our reality, and we see things from a different level, right? How many times have we been in the public bathroom and we're like, "Oh, this stainless steel is awful," right? So don't leave yourself open. So the number one reason why you should have a cancellation policy is because each space on your schedule, whether you feel that there's the value in it or not, is worth money. So if it's just you and you're still only doing one house a day and that person cancels, you just ate that money. And especially if they canceled at the last minute. Like when the house that I cleaned it for $45 a week, I literally would be pulling up. I would turn left into her cul-de-sac and she'd be like, "Shannon, I'm going to cancel today. My girlfriend Susan came up from Phoenix. We're going to have lunch, so I don't need you to come." And I'm like, "But I'm right here in front of yours." "Well, don't bother coming." I mean, she would do this. Oh, she was not only was she cheap, and I didn't have the balls to say, "No, I'm not going to accept this price." She was demanding, and she was not a good client. So look for good clients. There are people out there who do appreciate luxury service. We are a luxury service. So you have to feel the value in your heart right here, right? Feel your heart. I am valued, right? I deserve to make $100K within my first year as a cleaning business. And you can do it. If you listen to all of the stuff I spew out, I've seen many of you take the ball and run with it. So, and that is my goal, right? My goal is to get as many of you up as possible, right? It is a possibility. Please don't deny yourself. I see it happen all the time. I've been doing this a while. You just have to listen to everything I say, whether you want to or not. And no one's going to die from it. I have had interesting conversations about the Swedish death cleaning, but that's a topic for something else. So each spot on your schedule, hi, Pamela, hi, Ria, it's worth a certain price point. Especially when you're doing the large jobs. I saw someone who was looking for a price point for a 100,000 square foot commercial building, post-construction. There's a lot of variables. You need to know what kind of building it is. I mean, we go over this all the time, but it's for some reason, it's not, either I'm not communicating it or the people aren't doing the research. I'm not quite sure, but you need to kind of do, before you take on a large job that's going to take 500 labor hours or more, you need to kind of know what you're getting yourself into. So having a firm, and how you start off is when you're brand new, and I see this in the other groups too, start a house cleaning business, housekeepers, whatever, and there's like 50 of them, right? Because I'm in a lot of those groups, and you guys can see me, I communicate with you back and forth, but I see these people taking on these jobs. There's no cancellation policy in place, and then they come running to me, and they're wah, 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 and I'm like, I don't have any sympathy for you. If it's your first blender, I totally get it. I've had many first blenders, but if I'm telling you need to do this and still after I've worked with you, you still do the same thing, I'm not going to feel sorry for you. And I'm not going to hear what you say because I have more important things to do because you didn't listen. So the number one reason why you want a cancellation policy is to set a boundary, and you have to figure out how much each spot on your schedule is worth. Each spot on my schedule is worth about $350, I have figured out. And that goes up. As inflation goes up, each spot is worth more. That's why you need to have a minimum before you go anywhere. I see girls all the time are like, well, $100 is great. I'm like, $100 is nothing. If you feel that that's great and that's your price point, I totally am okay with that. But you're leaving money on the table by not saying $150 like the rest of us, right? So, and when you have the cancellation policy, and I've had this happen this week, you're trying to get your cleaning tech to get paid. So whether you have 1099s or W-2s, your cleaning tech took the effort to go over to the house. Either they loaded their truck or car or didn't load it, and it was because it was already sitting there. But they took the time out of their day to work for you. You need to back them up by getting them paid. And how you do that is with your cancellation policy. This particular person, my cleaning tech, drove over there, had been up at 1 o'clock in the morning. And she's a really diligent worker. I love her. I wish I could clone her. She's 50 of those, right? And no questions asked. She showed up at that lady's house at 8 a.m. and guess who was not home? The homeowner. And so then I had to call, and she was testy with me. Not only was she testy, she cursed at me, and I was shocked. It's always the little old ladies that were in their 60s and 70s who like sound like sailors. I was always affronted. I'm like, whoo! So make sure that you are selling each spot on your schedule. And how you do that is like when I went to Catalina Island last week. I had to make a reservation. They took a deposit. They said, this is what the cancellation policy is. You have until X amount of hours to cancel. If you don't, we're just going to bill your card we have on file. And I said, I have a business. I completely understand, right? And when you rent an STR or a hotel room, guess what you do? You prepay, right? And if you cancel at the last minute, they're still going to bill your credit card. It's just how it works. This is how business is done. So you have to decide how much each spot in your schedule is worth. You have to have a cancellation policy so that you're not losing income when they cancel at the last minute. There's nothing worse than having your rent due or your mortgage payment or whatever it is you're paying on, or food for your kids because 5 people canceled this week because of whatever's going on, right? That's not your problem. Your problem is to fill those spots. Now, there's a new policy for doctors, even. If you can even get in to see a doctor, in my town, you can't. It's an 18-month waiting period, believe it or not. That's how many people we've had move here. Basically, they say, this is new, I heard this from a couple people, excuse me, if you schedule and take a spot on their schedule and you don't show up, they're billing you $500. If you cancel and try to reschedule, they're still going to bill you for $500 because they held the spot for you. And when you're starting to explain why you have a cancellation policy, it says it in my paperwork. We carry a very stringent cancellation policy. It is a 48-hour notice. Failure to comply to this policy, you acknowledge that you are going to be billed for the full amount of the cleaning. Not because we like to do so, but because the cleaning tech still deserves to be paid. Verbatim. Then they have to initial it on my paperwork, right? That means, and they have to sign the paperwork. So there's 2 spots. So if they get all hissy-pissy, like the lady did with me, I'm like, we all have problems, lady. Sorry, I was up with my little dog who's 18. It's just like, give me a break, right? So, and I don't mean to sound jaded, but this is the reality of we're businesses. We're business owners, cleaning business owners. I know more millionaires in this industry than in any other industry. So please take note. You need a cancellation policy because each spot on your schedule is worth so much money. You deserve to still be paid whether you're solo or not, whether you have insurance or not. These are policies and places that you need to put in. Or people are going to take advantage of you. And if you have a client who you take on and I hear it all the time. Oh, I can't find any cleaning company to suit my needs, or they just don't know how to clean. What it is they're flaky. And they can't commit to anything because they're either unorganized or they've got some stuff going on. Those aren't good clients. You get like one shot. If you cannot commit to being on my schedule, bye. It's just like, hate to lose you, but you're a pain in the ass. It's just, that's the reality of what it comes up to. So that's when you have to politely say, I've given this some thought, and I no longer think that we're a good, you have to make it all about them, right? I no longer think that we're a good fit. You're going to need to find a cleaning company to come in and service your home going forward on such and such a date. Give them a little bit of notice. But if it's really bad, if it's a really bad party, like with the lady this week, after she cursed at me, I was like, I'm firing this lady. That's what in my mind, I stopped listening. I'm like, she's gone. And then I let her finish. And she's like, well, you know, this is the end of our relationship. So she fired me, and then I didn't have to do the nasty, you know, Dear John letter, right? Which is in the guides. I believe it's in section 10 or 11. If you guys have not gone through the guides, I highly recommend that you do. There is thousands and thousands of dollars of free information in there. And then what really is annoying to me, and I'm going to be honest with you, is when you are brand new and you join the group and you message me and you're like, hey, I just started my business. I'm wondering if you can give me some advice. Did you go through the guides? Hey, there's 115 videos on my YouTube channel. Please go through all of that first before you come out and ask me, hey, can you give me some advice about my brand new cleaning business? I don't mind at all answering questions, but if you don't go through the process of trying to look for something and figuring things out, I mean, there's tons of free information there. Please utilize it. So those are things that you need to consider, and that's why you need a cancellation policy. Ours is 48 hours. Other businesses, it's 36. Some people, it's 24. And it goes both ways. I've heard both sides of the coin about, well, sometimes I'm sick too. Well, I can tell you, since COVID happened, people are more forgiving. They don't want you in their home if you have cooties, right? And it happens. I've had two people who are out this week who have cooties. They don't have the COVID cooties, but they have some sort of cooties, and nobody wants them in their house, right? Where in the past, God forbid you got sick, the client could fire you. So you had to decide whether I was going to be fired or not fired. So then it becomes like this cycle again, right? The cycle ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows. So if you have not decided, or even if you don't use mine, I have contracts that are for sale. It's the basic contract bundle. It's right there on my website. I believe it has 8 contracts in there. Most of those contracts have been used in a court of law. Most of those contracts have been used thousands of times. Each one of those line items inside those contracts has been a blunder that I have made in my business. So please learn from my mistakes and use them, right? And there are other, they label them as service agreements. I called mine a welcome package. It's more impressive. It's memorable. It's weighted. There's a lot of my mom was a psychologist when I was a kid, can you tell? So there's a lot of psychological elements to having the contract, right? The welcome package or the service agreement, or I call them, when I'm doing move out cleanings, it's a move out cleaning contract. There's no agreement about anything. It is a contract. You are going to adhere and do all of these things, or your cleaning isn't going to happen and your movers are going to come and no one's going to clean your house, right? I can't tell you how many times I have people who go with the lowest price and they call me in a panic on a Saturday. They're like, do you have anyone available? I'm like, no. I'm sorry, I don't have anyone available. We're closed on the weekends. And I know who they are because I usually have notes when I'm on the phone. And they went with, so-and-so who was $15 an hour. I'm like, you get what you pay for is what I want to say. But I don't. I'm polite. I'm like, I'm really sorry that happened. You might want to go back to Facebook and hopefully you'll get someone who'll show up this time. What am I going to say? Told you so. So those are things to consider if you have not purchased the basic contract bundle. If you just need one of the contracts, I have those individually. Please reach out. I'm more than happy to sell you one. But those are some of the reasons, those are the top 3 reasons why you need to have a cancellation policy. It's common business practice. Like I mentioned, I went to Catalina Island with my littles. Going on the boat was so exciting with them. I can tell you guys all about the urchin that was still alive that my little collected and how I had to throw it over the edge. She squealed because it was poking its little head out. I was all, ah! Things we do for kids, right? I'm like, it's just like in the shell. I'm like, ugh. But in any case, there's cancellation policies for a lot of things. Anytime you rent a hotel room or rent a car, anything that you do to make your life easier because you're getting a goods or service is time for you to make a deposit. When you're getting your one-time cleanings and they're new to you, you have every right to take a deposit, whether it's regular maintenance or one-time cleaning. I always recommend for one-time cleanings that you get a 50% deposit. And the verbiage for that is to secure your spot on the schedule. Boom. Cut and dry. There's no, well, you can maybe give it to me. That's what happened to the one person who didn't get paid this week, is they didn't even get a deposit on it. And so it became like, because you could cover your labor, right? So if you get a deposit, say it's a $500 cleaning, and you get a $250 deposit, that at least covers your labor so that the people are like not pissed off at you because they didn't get paid even though they showed up. You know, it's just like this whole dynamic. So these are things that you can do to make your life easier. If you want, you know, copy and paste templates, all you have to do is go and purchase the basic contract bundle. It talks a lot about policies in place and what I offer and what I don't offer. So if that is something you're interested in, by all means, go right to my website. If you, I'm thinking by September, we're going to start to do lives off of my new Zinler platform. I will be doing some of them here, but most of the stuff will be done on my website. So if you go to Clean Freaks University and you sign up to be a student, doesn't mean you have to purchase anything, or you can sign up for the newsletter or my emails, and it's not a lot. I have some people go, I can't believe you sent that many emails. I'm like, I've sent 2. So I'm sorry. Usually it's one to let you know that we're either going live or, you know, the Cleaning Business Live podcast came out. I sent out that email today. So make sure that you are signing up so that you cannot miss information, because we're getting ready to do some transitioning here for that. I still have the Structure, Scale, and Profit Cleaning Business Academy for those of you who are struggling in your business. I made it totally digital. You don't even have to wait for me. You could do a payment plan. I believe it's $200 a month for 10 months in a row. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Or you could get a discount and prepay for it all at once. It's entirely up to you. But those are things that you can do to help facilitate and make your business better. I think so far, I want to say 200 businesses have gone through the program, and the program works. So if you have any questions about either one of those products, please reach out. Please go to my website and sign up. And then if you are not familiar with the YouTube channel, it's Clean Freaks TV. And I'm excited because I went to Fiverr for the first time ever. And I have someone who is redoing my banner for my YouTube channel. So I'm really excited about it. I saw a preview of it today. And he is in, I want to say Bangladesh. So it was pretty cool. And it wasn't an arm and a leg like a traditional graphic designer here in America. So I was surprised that it wasn't very much money. It was like $60 for the 3 items I paid for. I was like, really? So different currency rates, you know, those types of things. So just be on the lookout for those things. Like I said, if you have not signed up at my website to become a student, please do so, so you don't miss any of the emails and all of the information going forward. And I look forward to speaking with you. If you guys have any questions, reach out. Take care.